Well, hello there. I'm back out in the garden. In this update, I'm going to focus on some sort of improvements and developments and bug fixes around the Woodgate Crescent Station. If you've been catching up with the series about the developments of my garden railway recently, you'll have heard me mention the couple of bugs that I had found in the system area of the Woodgate Crescent Station on the sort of southern area of the suburban loop. And in fact, I spent most yesterday sitting in this chair, problem solving a couple of things. And it came down to the need to replace, very annoyingly, 3 track position sensors or train position sensors on the track. Now these are the ones I've replaced, and okay, so they're a little bit on the muddy and grubby side. They've been in situ for 6 or 7 years, so I suppose they've done quite well, but I am rather disappointed that sealed units like these have failed at all, and 3 of them in just this area. Okay, there's about 15 or 20 of them out in the track area in this section of the suburban line. So to have 3 fail, well, I don't know, is there any kind of life expectancy for these? The replacements, I've got lots in the box, of course, clean shiny new ones, but they're just the same. I don't know how long these are going to last, really. I'm not going to go into the full details of how the system uses these, not in this video. Do check out other videos in the playlist. But basically, these are mounted along the track and coupled up to the system that I've developed. And underneath the locos of each train, there are these fixed magnets. So these are reed switches, these are fixed magnets, and as the train passes, the sensor detects the position of the train and sends a signal back to the system. However, if any of these don't work, then it's a problem for the DLC system. So having done some fault finding and scrabbling around on the line yesterday for quite a few hours, enjoyable really, at least I was being productive and managing to find out what the faults were and rectifying them. I thought today what I'd do is just do another little audit of where I am with the control box in the Woodgate Crescent Station area and show you what's going on. Let's take off some of these front panels and look inside. Hi, I'm Warren Brand and welcome to another Linleys video. So this front panel comes off quite easily, just with these 2 bolts. And there we are. Well, yesterday, while I was rummaging around in the control box here, I took out a couple of these modules. I just popped them back in for the moment and then explain to you what each of the modules does. Okay, so this set of modules, I suppose, is quite complex on first view, but each of the module bays has a very specific purpose for various aspects of the control system, the DLC control system that I've developed over the last decade or so. Let's take a quick tour of what this panel is all about and what the modules do. This mimic panel relates to the whole station area with the 3 main track circuit areas plus another whole load of controls. I'm not going to go into all of the details now because most of that I've covered in previous videos, but let's just say that there's 3 main track circuit areas, 3 main block areas, block Woodgate Crescent 1, 2, and there's 2 of those, and 3. If you're not quite sure how those 3 blocks relate to the suburban line, do check back at the playlist because I've covered kind of the track circuit blocks and labelling and all of that jazz. So what we do then have is 3 main block sections. Block 2 is in fact 2 blocks, so I guess there's 4 block sections in total here. Let's start with block section 1. So this is signal Woodgate Crescent 1, WC1. That is the section that relates to the track section on the feed and approach to the station. So that's the signal control switch there, and that block has a module assigned to it, control module circuitry, which is in here. This one actually is not complete yet, and the connection panel is going to be down here. The cables are there. I've actually been upgrading these little connection panels to the wider ones with the L shape aluminium blocks rather than the narrow strips, which work to start with, but I'm just generally upgrading them to these. Let's check out the other block section modules and the positions of those here, and then I'll show you briefly one of the modules themselves. Okay, so that's block section 1. This is block section 2. There are 2 of them because there are 2 tracks for the station. This is the station 1, so 2S, and this is sort of the loop line around the outside, so 2L. They operate as separate blocks. So 2S and 2L, those signal controls here, clearly can't pull them both off at the same time. There would be an alarm that goes off with that. I'll tell you about the interlocking in a minute. So this is 2L, which is this one, and 2S, which is then this one, and the connection panels down here. And then moving across to block section 3, signal WC3, and that relates to the track section from the end of the platform here round the back, and as it disappears behind the foliage and around up the suburban line over there. So that's the 4 block sections with the 4 modules. Let's take a look at one of the modules. For checking and maintenance, each of these modules can pull out. This module I've made, this one is just for, being the first one in the rack here, for block section 3, WCO3. So this is the connection bundle wrapped up with this coily plastic strip. There's the cable bundle here. This bundle goes down the back here and connects to this cable junction strip here. I'll explain what happens at this point in a moment. So these connection cables then couple up to the circuit board that I've made. These are standard circuit boards. I make them sort of 2 or 3 at the time, and they've got a PIC processor chip in the middle. Not going to go into the mega detail now, but basically processor chip controls this block. This is the processor section, connections in and out, various connections, various color cables. There's also another set of cables that go up to this relay block. I'm going to be developing the idea of the relay block here. This is the power controller for the track. I've already hinted that I've got some development ideas for this, but I'm not going to go into those details now. This is kind of a quick summary. So that control module relates to block section 3. This one's obviously 2S, 2L and 1. All 4 of those are the same, and they couple back to these connection strips. There's quite a lot of cableage going on in behind this area as the cables drop down and round the back and connect either down into the ground or up to the mimic panel. So that linking bundle of wires that I made with the coily connection comes around, and they all come into the back, the side of this terminal strip arrangement here. So all the cables from here go to here. From here, the cables either go up to the mimic panel or down and out to the track cable bundles. So bug tracking yesterday, trying to find where the problems were with these annoying little failed sensors. It's very easy for me to use my testing probe with my multimeter. I've got a little beeper on it as well for continuity checking, either on the terminal junction points there or directly onto the circuit board. Piece of cake really, once I'd worked out where the faults were potentially. I said some of the cables go from the junction strips up to the control panel, the MMIC panel. So let's take a look at that. This MMIC panel kind of aims to replicate what you'd see in a traditional signal box, with the track circuit, the track plan here, these black sort of lines with the little white indicators, and the signal repeaters here. But also the lower section, these are the pull levers. Well, clearly they're switches, aren't they? Not big mechanical levers. But these pull switches relate to the idea of a pull lever in a signal box. So to pull off WC01, I would pull it by pushing down, and that would be like pulling back on the lever. So that's in the normal position, and that's in the reversed or off position. So I can work along and set signals, apart from the black switches, which relate to sort of system control things and various other systems bits. The red are signals and blue are points. Well, let's take a look at the back side of this MMIC panel. So here we go. Now this just slides out, and on the back, oh, don't want to lose the bolts. And on the back, I've included some suspension strings, so that just flops forward, just like that, so that I can get to the wires and it just stands there, and I can solder and work. These are the back of the LEDs, obviously. It's funny how the writing's inverted. It's just the way I've made the panel. It's laser cut plastic. And then the switches are just on the other side here. Not sure it's the tidiest of cable bundling I've done, but you know, it works. And that's the bundle tucked in the back there going down to the modules. I'll just tuck that back in again, keep it out of the way. I won't bother doing up those bolts just fully at the moment. Right, I said I was replacing the narrow strips of aluminium down in the lower sort of junction box area with these wider pieces. So all I do is cut off very long strips of angle iron, not angle iron, angle aluminium, cut these little corners out, drill holes for mounting, etc. That's my template actually, and other cable strap points and holes for wires. I like these better because the wires are more sort of securely trapped, and I can label them and keep them more in a much more manageable way, and it just keeps the front much tidier. Yeah, I'd really like to swap the other strips out here as well, so hopefully in the next few weeks I'll do that. While I'm sitting here, let me explain to you what the other 4 module panels are, because I've explained 4 and there's 8 there. So I've now talked about these 4 modules. This is block section 3, the 2 2s and the 1. We've got these 4 to talk about. This is a very interesting module. This is the interlocker. I've only half made it. I've still got some more cables to add, and indeed I've got some more programming to work out as well. This interlocker enables all of the modules in this section and modules in advance and behind these 4 to interface and interlock with each other. Let me just explain what interlocking means. In a signal box, it would not be possible, not safe, to release a train from the station as well as the loop line. Clearly that's erroneous, because what that would be is I would be releasing a train from the station as well as the loop line, and they both converge at one set of points. Disastrous. So that as a concept cannot be allowed to happen. No. The interlocker takes the control inputs from here and would permit this if this set of points is in the normal position, or if this set of points is in the reverse position, to release from the loop line, as long as other conditions are met. So that is called interlocking. Now, in a traditional signal box, that would all be done by mechanical levers and slide bars and notches and all sorts of stuff. But in a more modern system, electronic system, there's an interlocker module that gets used, and that's what I've got here. So like I say, I haven't finished building that, but the fundamentals are working. I haven't yet done all of the electronics and mechanical bits for the points. I've made no remote management of points, no point motors or power control systems for the points at all, anywhere on the railway actually. All the points, I have to use the hand of Warren to make them move at the moment, but it's a project that's underway. I've done most of the design work. So let's take a quick look at some of the circuitry that I'm working on for managing point movements. This is a point motor control module. In fact, it can cope with controlling 2 sets of points, ideal for this local situation where I've got the points on the output side of the station as well as the inbound. Another pick chip, smaller one, this one, I think this is just an 18 pin rather than a larger 40 pin, and all sorts of control electronics and bits and pieces. That's very much under development. That module I've butchered and changed and evolved, and I've got 2 or 3 more development aspects to work on. Won't be using that this year, but it's there as I'm trialling it and developing it. Moving further to the right, the next one is very, very easy to explain. So this one's very easy to explain because there's nothing in it at the moment. But what it will do is it will house, this module will house all of the electronics relating to comms systems interfacing with the other signal box. I've labelled that down here, comms. So all the communications, bell interfacing, everything will be mounted in this module here. I'm way off developing that, but at least I've identified the space. This last one on the right here is partly done, and it's the power control module. There's 2 here for the various modules. So this takes 12 volts supply and knocked it down to 5 volts, regulated, managed 5 volts, which is needed to operate all of the electronics. So that will have also another module up here which will take 12 volts and regulate it for other systems as well. Well, as you can see, there's lots done, but there's lots still to be done. But that's the way it is on the Linleys Garden Railway. Lots done, lots still to do. I think that's it for this episode. Get back with me next time and you'll see me do some hands-on development. I'll finish some of the faceplates there and perhaps improve some of the programming bits, and I'll explain that a little bit more next time as well. Until then, thanks for watching and bye for now.